Here's more wrestling news for November 25th, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include: Alexa Bliss warns of Impostor account contacting fans claiming to be her. Update on Johnny Gargano's deal with WWE. Former WWE wrestler says Seth Rollins did the right thing by not fighting back in fan attack. AAA announces former Kalisto will challenge for Kenny Omega's vacated Mega Championship. Jeff Hardy calls out Roman Reigns for Dream Match. Brian Cage's wife said he got heat in AEW over her comments. Jerry Lawler admits WWE is sometimes sort of hard to watch. WWE asked Ric Flair to sign away his intellectual property when he was on life support, and more. We're starting today with Raw, where Seth Rollins was attacked by a fan who jumped the barricade and left Rollins with a busted lip. The fan, Eliza Spencer, had previously been the victim of an online scam in which someone posing as Rollins had conned the 24-year-old out of a reported $3,000 in cash and gift cards. Sadly, these scams are common online, and Alexa Bliss doesn't want anyone to lose out by thinking they're talking to her. On social media, Bliss warned fans that any account with her name that claims to be her private account is a scammer, and that she only has one Twitter profile and one Instagram account. Bliss hasn't been seen on WWE TV since Extreme Rules, where Lily was destroyed by Charlotte Flair, and though she's had more time lately for social media, Bliss can only be found on her verified accounts. Over to NXT 2.0, as Johnny Gargano's contract is up soon, and we now have an update on how WWE's negotiations are going. The former NXT champion's contract was supposed to end on December 3rd, but after Gargano was announced for December 5th's NXT 2.0 War Games, fans believed he had signed a new deal. That technically is true, but it's a very short-term deal, as Fightful Select reports that a one-week extension has been agreed, meaning his deal now expires on December 10th. As for a long-term deal, WWE are still trying to get Gargano to re-sign, and Fightful noted that much like Adam Cole, WWE has spoken highly of Gargano being willing to extend his contract when other companies are interested. Despite being a staple of NXT, Gargano has yet to compete in War Games, but will do so on December 5th in what could be his very last match as a contracted WWE superstar. More from Raw, as Seth Rollins was blindsided by the Spencer attack, but the former Universal Champion was able to keep his cool despite the chaos. Instead of fighting back, Rollins subdued his attacker with a facelock until security arrived and escorted Spencer away, showing restraint as he could have done much more damage. On his Busted Open radio show, Bully Ray said that Rollins made a smart decision by not fighting back, saying, "People chiming in on social media, oh, Rollins is a punk for not beating the shit out of him. No, he's not. He's a pro. You can't fire back because then they sue you. Then they sue the company, then they sue the arena, then they just get sue happy. And then the jury looks at you like, well, Seth, you did get away from the guy. Did you really have to go back and punt him in the face?" This week's situation was terrible and shouldn't have happened, but could have been much worse had Rollins got some shots in, and we can only hope this week will be a deterrent to anyone who thinks of attacking a wrestler. At Survivor Series 2021, Universal Champion Roman Reigns defeated WWE Champion Big E in the latest huge win for the head of the table. It remains to be seen who will step up to Reigns next, but we know one man who's willing to risk it all to become Universal Champion. In a clip for the upcoming Broken Skull Sessions episode, Jeff Hardy tells Stone Cold Steve Austin that the bloodline aggravate him and that he wants to be the one to break the head of the table. Ahead of tomorrow's SmackDown, WWE has been teasing that a new challenger will be revealed during this Friday's episode. In the video package teasing potential future opponents, Hardy is featured, meaning his wish may come true very soon. In September this year, Melissa Santos, the wife of Brian Cage, complained about AEW's use of him, saying that her husband should be on a level similar to Brock Lesnar. This wasn't exactly a good look for the former Impact World Champion, as fans saw it as his wife fighting his battles for him, and it's something Santos now regrets. Speaking to Chris Van Vliet, Santos said she got really spicy about her husband's booking, and that maybe she shouldn't have, adding that Cage got heat in AEW for what she said. Santos added that Cage loves working for AEW and hopes the heat on her husband settles in the future. Brian Cage hasn't been featured on AEW TV since the October 6th Rampage, where he lost to Ricky Starks in a street fight, and it remains to be seen what he does next and what his wife will say when he returns to TV. Now, WWE has a lot of die-hard fans, but there will always be critics of the company, who especially since the arrival of AEW have blasted Vince McMahon's company as unwatchable. For decades, Jerry Lawler has been a part of the company, but even the King has his own problems with the current product. On Busted Open Radio, Lawler said that the show can be hard to follow, but not because of the wrestling itself, and instead said that a cultural change has forced WWE's storytelling to change for the worst. Saying that fans now have a shorter attention span, Lawler said shows need to be more exciting every minute to stop people switching over to something else, which has made things hard to follow. WWE has more than its fair share of critics, but it's rare for someone in the company to be so open about these problems, which according to Lawler, is more down to the fans than the product. Earlier this year, Ric Flair chose to leave WWE, citing frustrations over the booking of both himself and Charlotte as his decision to leave. Not long after, Flair earned nuclear heat from the wrestling world after his alleged actions on the plane ride from hell were reported during Dark Side of the Ring. Unsurprisingly, WWE hasn't tried to rehire Flair, whose career is still reeling from the plane ride from hell episode, but he wouldn't come back even if WWE wanted. Speaking on his Woo Nation Uncensored podcast, Flair said that he'll never go back to WWE and accused Nick Khan of erasing his legacy. As proof, Flair pointed out WWE's opening video package, in which he was removed following Dark Side of the Ring and replaced by the Ultimate Warrior. Flair questioned why WWE would replace him with a controversial figure who once sued the company, and said he expects that one day a documentary will be made attacking him, just like WWE did with 2004's The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. Flair went on to say it was Nick Khan who orchestrated him being removed from the opening package, and though Vince McMahon and AEW President Tony Khan both respect him, he could never work with Nick Khan. At 72 years old, the two-time WWE Hall of Famer has openly spoken about realizing that he doesn't have a lot of time left in either his media career or life, and whatever Rick has planned next, it won't be with WWE. And we're ending today with MVP, who's seen plenty of superstars be released since he returned to WWE last year, but the former US champion isn't worried about being handed the pink slip. When a fan asked on Instagram if MVP was worried about getting released, he responded that he's rich and doesn't have to worry about anything like that. Since returning to WWE, MVP has proven to be a highlight of TV and essentially turned around the careers of Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander with the Hurt Business, and though wrestlers could lose their job at any moment, MVP isn't concerned about his own personal release. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.